What an amazing experience. You know, we're here now with this new wellness and holistic show. I hope you enjoy it because we're going to bring on people that are doing amazing things for our world. And one of them is Martin Otterwall with his hypnotherapy. And I was just put into a state of trance. But I do have some questions for Martin. You know, with all the stuff that's going on in my life, a part of me wanted to burst out crying or saying, you know, what would you do, Martin, if you came across a client who really was in panic or depression and they were going through something really serious? How would you deal with it, Martin? So can you tell us?
Well, you would immediately bring them around if there was something that was too much for them to forbear. You would bring them round out of the trance state, and then bring them back to their normal waking state, and then you would then just conduct a normal conversation with them, just straightforward, where you just be a face-to-face discussion, where they would could recount what's hindering them and what their problems are. But then you might say, well, in that case, well, can you remember a time when you were really happy about in your life? How can you remember a particular time or a past event where you felt so energized, so good about yourself, where there was no such thing, you didn't even consider any of your problems? And then that in itself would help them to sort of enter a form of a trance state. After all, there's various trance states can occur all the time. Like when you watch TV, when you listen to music, when you're driving a car, mild trance states can occur. And that alone would, as long as you can get the person to lower their resistance, to lower their guard, that's what you would aim to do. You're looking for the least possible resistance so that you can get them into a trance state. So that would be one way of dealing with it.
Brilliant, Martin. That's a really good answer. As you say, you know, because people do not know what to do a lot of the time with their feelings. So you're kind of building rapport with them, I would say. Is that true? You say we're building rapport with people,
well, yes,
getting them to trust you.
That in itself can help people get to where they want to go. I mean, just by even talking face to face with people, them recounting what their problems are, can help them to sort of unload, just to have that sort of direct contact with another human being and to tell them, because after all, we're trying to get them into an inner state of internal focus here. And they're already going into that direction just by talking to you, and that alone can be a therapy all by itself. Of course, we want to get them into a more focused or more trance, hypnotic state. But just by bringing them around, just by talking to them, and just by getting them to face up, or just to be open. And to be open and just to be clear about what's really troubling them, that in itself can be a therapeutic process all by itself.
Great, because sometimes they probably haven't had anyone to talk to, and you could be the first port of call where they're actually admitting that they've got something that they want help with.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, another question I had for you, Martin, was again, I'm a very visual person, and I find it very easy. So if you say to me, can you find somewhere to go where you can relax, and straight away I see Uenden. As everyone knows, I see Uenden Valley, I see the sheep. If you say to me, get this pink balloon, I see a pink balloon. If you say to me, see all the writing and stuff it into a balloon, I see everything. Now, my question is, and a lot of people ask this about, being visual, is what if you can't actually see things? What if you're talking to someone that is not very, doesn't actually, is not as visual? How would you use it? Would you say, can you hear this or can you feel it?
Most people can visualize or somewhere, or be in the moment, in the feeling or in the sounds of somewhere that they really like. because it's had such an effect on their senses and their emotions. So in a sense, really, you would start off with a visualization, and after that, then you would sort of build on that and say, well, notice the sounds and the shapes, and perhaps you can hear the sea, and perhaps you can feel, you know, the sand beneath your feet or something. I did a very generalised one for the for purposes of brevity. But I mean, you could build on that and say, where are you now, and where is this place that you're actually at, and you could build on there. Of course, some people will think in different ways. Some people will think visually, or will be able to visualize. Some people can hear things or in sound. Some people, it's their emotions. You would have to sort of gather what their stronger point is by that alone. But with mostly an event or a favourite place or normally something, some sounds, basically, you can generally guess them.
Thank you. So, because in a way, what we're talking about is if you do say to someone, can you visualize, can you see this place? It will conjure up emotions anyway. So you'll start to feel the feelings, because one thing will lead to another. That's brilliant. So I'm just thinking of anything else that you have to ask. If you've got any questions for Martin about hypnotherapy, then obviously I'll pass them on to him. You can contact me at Laurene with an E at movingontv.uk, or you can phone me on 07437 532 798. Because if you've got any questions that you want to put to Martin, then please contact me and we'll bring him back on and he will answer your questions. Because hypnotherapy is being used now all over the world to deal with so many conditions and so many different things. I'm just going to put it to Martin now of what things he actually does deal with and what can you expect from him if you call him for a session.
Thanks for that, Lauren. Essentially, hypnosis has been used for thousands of years. It fell out of favour, well, perhaps a couple of hundred years or so ago, because it used to be considered for operations, but eventually chloroform sort of replaced its use. So it's always been known to man, but it was never perhaps in vogue. Until recently. It's come back into, in the last maybe 40, 50 years, it's come back into being recognised, and you've had it as a very useful therapy or tool to help people achieve therapeutic change within their lives. In a sense, really, you say hypnotherapy, it's based on the word hypnos, it's a Greek word for sleep. You could also call it a focused state of attention, which helps the client access their inner strengths or inner talent for change, and it sort of buys into your natural abilities to help you change within yourself. You just need to be guided towards this focused state and to be directed into new ways of thinking. Of seeing a problem. So
what would you...
Or overeating, or emotional eating, or nail biting, or anything like that, then you could achieve by the inner state of focus to reframe or to reprogram the mind to overcome these habits and benefit yourself, or initiate a new habit where you can get the same pleasure, the same payoffs, if you like, but which is not so harmful to yourself and doesn't do your body damage. I mean, in particular, smoking and weight loss.
What other conditions would you use hypnotherapy for?
Well, you could do it for you could do it for any skin conditions, or eczema, or for IBS, for anything that's to do with the nervous system. There is a famous case where somebody was able to reverse a severe skin condition, which all medicine had failed to do, but hypnosis managed to achieve. You can also get people more confidence in a way that gives them it makes the most of who they are and what they've actually got within themselves. I think that's the main thing. It can't make you superhuman, but what talents you do possess, hypnosis can access them and make them use them or help you to use them to the best of your abilities.
So in a way, you're doing a little bit similar to coaching. You're actually working on people's strengths instead of the weaknesses.
But
Is that what
you're
you're doing?
accessing an altered state of consciousness to do this, whereas coaching
Right.
would not do that. What you have, what you already possess, and realise what's within yourself, and give you that state of confidence and a state of determination and state of calm. And it's primeval. It's something that's been known for thousands of years, and really it's something that in the modern era which is being realised.
So you could really use it for anything, to give people motivation, to move them on in any way, with if they have phobias or stress, any kind of stress. I suppose if they're not sleeping properly. But I think also what you're doing is you're building rapport with another human being. You're giving them a chance to trust someone to help them to move on with their lives. So it could be anything. I expect people must come to you with lots of different conditions and,
Yes, yeah.
and just ask you to try and do something to help them in some way. I have to ask you this is my playfulness, don't get nervous. But in a lot of old movies and things, you always see them use a watch and they go like this. But you don't do that, do you? Or why would, how did it move on from that? Because now hypnotherapists wouldn't actually use
Well,
a
that's
watch
Hollywood
to...
style. A Hollywood style would use the old hypnotist stage tricks of eye fixation, which would help people to go down into a trance state, which again is a useful tool. You can do that. But some people, as I said at the start, are more susceptible to hypnosis than others. And that would work with some people easier than others,
Right.
because it would cause eye strain, and eventually your eyelids would have to
Of course.
fall down. And it was very visible and very good for the old films to actually show, show the process in action. They wouldn't show somebody Milton Erickson style talking to somebody and getting them down into a trance in that way. They'd show something visible and demonstrable, which waving a watch from side to side particularly is.
But we do go into trance a lot in life. I mean, we were watching this film last night about dancers. Absolutely amazing, Desert Dancer. I won't go into it too much. But the way they were dancing, she had her hand in front of him and he was following her hand, and it was like he was going into trance. He was becoming more and more connected to the dance, and obviously we use it in driving, don't we?
Yeah, you can.
When you're driving, I mean, obviously you don't. What I'm trying to say is, you are 1 minute you're driving, then you think, oh, how did I get here? Because you're so focused, you're in that zone, basically.
Yes.
So in a way, we use it in life, and when you're doing the things that you love, particularly if you're on the stage. When you're on the stage in that space, like when I'm doing Piaf and I'm really there, you're in trance.
Yes.
You go into trance, and it's this feeling of, the only way I can express it is like everything disappears. And like when you did this on me just now, it's that feeling like everything has disappeared in a nice way, and all your problems are starting to become smaller, and you start to feel like you're letting go. So in a way, trance is letting go, isn't it?
Yes, well, it's an altered state of consciousness. If you do acting, if you do something, you're dancing, if you do something you really enjoy, then yes, you could sort of argue you've gone into a state of hypnosis in it, or trance state. But there are various forms of trance states. I mean, sleepwalking is a trance state, but that's so deep that
that's a negative thing.
But you couldn't really sort of give suggestions to the mind on that sort of basis. But as I said before, we're trying to get between waking and sleeping, this halfway house where the rational conscious mind has closed down, and we're able to offer the subconscious mind suggestion, or positive beneficial suggestion, and to affect change within your life. And yes, dancing. dancing and acting, singing, anything, it can initiate a trance state.
Which is amazing, really. That's why we're doing this program for you, is because we don't want you to be scared. We don't want you to have this stigma of, oh my God, I'm going into trance. We're trying to explain to you, I mean, you could be having your favorite chocolate cake and you're going into trance. That's it. There's nothing to it. And you can put the plate down and walk off. And what happened to me today, if I wanted to say, no, I'm not doing this anymore, cut, I could have got off my seat and walked off. I didn't want to. So you need to know that with a hypnotherapy session, you are 100% in control. Isn't that right, Martin?
Mm.
And so is that what you would say to one of your clients?
Well, of course, yeah.
If you want to end the session, just say, I'm sorry, it's not working.
If you're watching your favourite film and you heard a knock on the door, yeah, you know somebody's there knocking at the door that needs to come in. But you don't really want to go and answer the door. You want to carry on watching your favourite, whatever it is, film or whatever, game, football, whatever. And I mean, you could ostensibly break off from watching the film and answer the door. This is the sort of similar state that we're achieving. It's that sort of element of you are still in control, but you're so relaxed that you know this, so you don't feel under threat, and you've still got enough control within you to actually walk out or to come out of the trance state.
Sure. So just one more question before we end, because again, my father always used to tell me about a stage hypnotist, and again, I want to come back to that a little bit, where in Ireland, where he put everyone under and he said, go look for the leprechauns. And the whole audience, well, not the whole audience, it's how my dad exaggerated. Some people from the audience ran out and started looking for leprechauns. Now, what do they do to them? Which, of course, you're not doing. You're saying to anyone who comes to see you, if you want to come out of this, you're totally in control. But what does a stage hypnotist do to people where they completely can do something like that?
And I've not really heard that story before anyway.
Yeah, my father used to tell me that.
I mean,
because that's the stigma.
Yeah, but
that's what we're trying to get rid of.
That goes back into what I said at the start, that some people are more susceptible to hypnosis, maybe up to 10% are very susceptible to hypnosis. This is what they are buying into it, and before that time they've probably got them into a state of excitement. You've probably got them all in as a group strategy to get up off the floor, get up off their chairs, sit down again, to clap their hands, to sort of do all these things. You've probably got them all into a sort of state, a heightened state. And Tony Robbins does exactly the same thing.
In a good way.
In a good way, yes. So he then said, he probably bought into their sense of fun and all of that, and they said, go and look for the leprechauns and all the rest of it. That is part of entertainment, of the entertainment side of it. Maybe there's some people, as you said, were actually looking for leprechauns. Maybe they were just trying to have a good time, have a laugh. Some people were just having a bit of fun. But as I said, they normally would take the most susceptible of people to the trance state and work with them and pretty much get them to put on a show anyway. Yeah. So that they would be encouraging all of this, and that's how they work, the stage hypnosis.
Well, that's a brilliant answer. Thank you so much, Martin. Because if you look at the worst case scenario of hypnotizing a crowd, or we all have situations like Hitler, where he managed to get a whole nation to be hypnotized by him, by actually rallying the crowd up and doing what you're saying, which what they do with more stage hypnotists. So I hope we've helped you move on a little bit with that. Moving on TV, we do everything we can to make you happy, to give you hope, and to take everything that's going on in our world. And all I'm interested in is you and creating solutions, as you know. And that's why I want you to send us questions. So here we are, moving on TV, ending a wonderful session I've just had with Martin. Isn't it great? I've got this on tap all the time, but no, it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you have to help yourself as well, and you can learn to hypnotize yourself. You can help yourself to go into trance. But sometimes, as I say, life is not easy, and it's good to go and find someone like Martin who can help you, because they've got the expertise and they've got the patience and they know how to get you there just like that, if you trust. And if not, then you build it up, and at some point it gets easier and easier. You just have to go onto Martin's website, which is downtoearthhypnosis.yolasite.com. You can see it come up because we have got the advert. And read the testimonials and come and experience a real hypnotherapy session. If you want to come to the studio, then contact us, and I'm sure you will give another demo on Moving On TV. Martin also does Skype, is that right?
I can also do Skype sessions. You can contact me over this medium of Skype or the internet, and that would be helpful if you're living miles away, and basically you'll still have the face-to-face idiom or face-to-face medium with myself. So that's Martin Oswald, Down to Earth Hypnosis, for smoking cessation, weight loss, phobias, and all manner and range of ailments and troubles you might have. Thanking you. Bye-bye.